It's impossible to ignore Billie Eilish. She has a unique fashion sense and is wise beyond her years. But she's also become a musical phenomenon in the span of a single year. But what shocks us the most is that she's only 16 years old. But how did her career skyrocket this fast? Is there something strange going on? Make sure you watch this video until the end to know how she went from being a total unknown to pop culture's new it girl in basically no time. Before we jump into it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the taco for more great content. Now, let's get into There's Something Strange Happening with Billie Eilish. You can't bring up Billie Eilish without mentioning that she's only 16 years old. How could you help it? Her 2016 debut single, Ocean Eyes, went viral so fast, it's kind of scary to see how much things can change when you least expect it. Her song has accumulated over 2 million streams so far. The harmonious ballad was the first of many, and she didn't do it alone. But we'll circle back to that a little bit later. In less than no time, Billie signed on with major label Interscope Records, and things only got better from there on. Billie is a total musical prodigy, and she uses her gift to further her career. In 2017, her debut EP, Don't Smile at Me, had over 3 million monthly streams on Spotify. One of her songs was even included on the uber-popular 13 Reasons Why soundtrack. So this American singer is definitely going places. But who knows what the future holds for someone like Billie? Sure, she's nothing but a teenager now, but her youth is what makes her achievements even more unbelievable. And yet, when people ask her what it's like being her age, she has one thing to say about that. Why does it define me? And it's obvious that age doesn't really play a role. After all, Billie's no ordinary teenager. While most of us were still worried about boys or hanging out at the mall, Billie's going on tour and getting signed by Universal Music. Don't expect her to fall into the same category as Miley Cyrus or Britney Spears. These pop stars started out as the perfect role models, but as their careers took off, they proved that they weren't quite so innocent. But although Billie is still a teen, she's never pretended to be a cookie-cutter wholesome role model. And that's not surprising given her age. She's still trying to figure out who she's destined to be. But with her music career blowing off so fast, it's been kind of crazy dealing with her newfound success. But she's definitely up for the challenge. In fact, she's pretty happy with the way she's been handling it so far, but you only have to listen to her lyrics to know that Billie's personal style is unlike anything you've heard before. With the exception of Ocean Eyes, some of the lyrics she's written can come off a bit dark and intimidating. In the song Watch, she sang about burning someone's car, and in Hostage, she talks about wanting to steal our soul. But where does she get her inspiration from? Is there something wrong going on in her life, or is it all make-believe? Billie went from being unknown to a music legend in the blink of an eye. She wrote her first song when she was 4 years old. But if you thought the song was about ponies and fairies, you couldn't be more wrong. Her first creation actually talked about falling into a black hole. That's pretty dark. But the tiny member of the Los Angeles Children's Chorus grew into a stunning teenager who's talented beyond her years. After posting her first song on SoundCloud at age 15, things really took off from there. When she went to sleep, it was like she slipped into a coma and woke up a megastar at age 16. When she went online, she noticed a bunch of emails about her and her up-and-coming career. We can't even begin to imagine what that must have felt like. And it was all thanks to her dance teacher who had encouraged her to write a song for a recital. But this was a major first step towards an unbelievable career. Just don't expect her to work with the likes of Lady Gaga or Ed Sheeran. They're cool and all, but she's more than electropop and rap. In fact, her first two singles, Ocean Eyes and 6 Feet Under, are definitely pop songs. But Bellyache is a lot more R&B. And as she continues to drop more singles, rap will likely take precedence over any other style. But one thing's for sure, her music will probably evolve into something greater than anyone could have predicted. Do you remember what you were doing when you were just a teenager? We doubt it involved signing autographs or taking selfies with adoring fans. But this is Billie's life now. Her voice won the hearts of many, but she's not your average teen artist. She's unique, raw, and definitely not afraid to speak her mind. But she's also human. She's been on the other side of the glass, so to speak. She totally understands what it's like to go insane for a celebrity who doesn't even know you exist. So to have all these followers feel the way they do about her is downright crazy for Billie. But how does she feel about her devout worshippers? I don't like to call them my fans, she said. In fact, she thinks of them as family. Isn't that adorable? But she also knows that she wouldn't be where she is without their support. She added, "They're the only reason I'm anything." But she admits there are a lot of artists out there who do take their fans for granted, because they don't realize they are the reason you're a person. Unfortunately, she's super busy, but she devotes her attention to them whenever she gets the chance. And whether she's online or she sees a fan in person, she's always connecting with them. Music is a part of Billie's body and soul. It's like the very air she breathes. Listen carefully to her lyrics, and you'll realize she's pretty open and fearless. Her passion for music is what inspires her to create amazing work, and she even feels like music is what's kept her alive all these years. She said, "I've never been able to survive without listening to music all the time." But where does she find the inspiration to write her songs? After all, they're pretty mature for her age. Well, as it turns out, Billie's obsessed with artists that some might consider memeable. She draws energy from the lyrics and authenticity from legends like the Beatles, Linkin Park, My Chemical Romance, Sarah McLachlan, and Avril Lavigne. And if Billie had one piece of advice for music fans out there, it would be simple. Don't just listen to a specific artist just because everyone else likes them. Think outside the box and listen to someone you're not used to listening to. If you only listen to whatever's trending, you'll be missing out on some great hits. Writing songs may seem easy, but the process is far more complicated than we could imagine. Billie believes that you don't have to be in love to write about love. In fact, the single Ocean Eyes was all about being lovesick. But Billie once said, "Okay, to set this straight, I've never been in love. Gross." But we're guessing her brother, Phineas O'Connell, probably has experienced what love feels like. It's why she had him write the song. But don't you dare say that the song wasn't hers, because it still came from her. Her brother was simply an invaluable muse that helped her craft the song that launched her into stardom. So by the time she releases her songs, fans get a very clear idea of what she's trying to say. Best of all, she comes off like she knows what she's talking about from personal experience, even if she doesn't have much, since, well, she's only 16, you know? Billie and her brother are used to writing tons of fiction together, which is what probably allowed them to write the song Bellyache. The lyrics painted quite a gruesome picture of how to kill someone, but of course, they didn't actually break the law or anything like that. It was nothing but creative writing, which is what Billie thinks the music industry is missing at the moment. She considers writing lyrics as a form of storytelling, but Billie's not impressed with the lyrical quality of most songs out there. According to her, they're all pretty much the same. So for her, lyrics require careful thinking. But as challenging as this is, it can also be a lot of fun too. When she works on a story, it's like she's leading another life in another world. But it often starts out with a lot of brainstorming. In some cases, she stumbles onto the lyrics by accident. When she came up with Bellyache, she and her brother were in the garage rehearsing with some of his friends. Somewhere down the line, she came up with words like "lay their bodies," but she was talking about her brother's friend, and Phineas thought it sounded pretty cool. A couple of days later, Bellyache was born, and the rest is history. Let's get one thing clear. Billie's who she is, and she's completely unapologetic about it. It's one of the many reasons why people are so drawn to her. She can be pretty blunt, to say the least. She'll say whatever she wants to say because if she doesn't, then what would be the point of being anything other than herself? She's raw and opinionated, but she's also so refreshing. We simply can't get enough of Billie. There's something about her honesty that reels fans in like a magnet. She admits this type of behavior isn't something most people like seeing in a woman, which is probably why she stands out so much. But despite her bossy attitude and raw honesty, she doesn't see herself as a role model. She believes that everyone should be their own person, just like she is. Her avant-garde cargo pants and elfish style may draw attention too, but she wants people to focus more on her voice and not her looks or what she's wearing. And while some folks are comparing her to other pop stars, she prefers to be herself. Being a clone of someone else just simply isn't her thing. Billie might be young, but she's not leading the life of your typical teenager. She doesn't have to worry about high school drama because she was homeschooled, just like her brother. But even when she was 12 years old, people thought she was really mature for her age. In fact, she recalls doing a guess your age game at the county fair with a woman who thought she was 20. Learning that she was only 12 at the time must have blown the lady's mind. But for Billie, age is nothing but a number. She doesn't really see herself as just a 16-year-old girl. But when people tell you that you're the next Lorde and that you're on the way to becoming the next pop sensation, age is the last thing on your mind. Despite it all, Billie does have a few things in common with most teens. She loved to rebel from time to time, and she doesn't always follow the rules. If someone tells her to do one thing, she'll do the total opposite. She does her best to stand out, even when it comes to the outfits she chooses. So how would she describe her style? Well, the crazier the better. She wants to leave an impression on us. And we've got to say, mission accomplished, Billie. But sometimes, she can come off as too intense, because she doesn't put up with people's nonsense. Sounds to us like she's an old soul who's trapped in a teen's body. On October 18, 2017, Billie met up with Vanity Fair to discuss her breakthrough success at the tender age of 15 years old. A year later, she returned to have the same interview. And let's just say, she's not the same girl she was a year ago. For starters, she had about 257,000 Instagram followers when she did the first one. Now her followers have skyrocketed to a whopping 6.3 million. Billie was pretty stunned when she heard her past self talk about how only 500 people showed up in Seattle to watch her sing, especially since Billie ended up performing in front of 40,000 people in Atlanta later on. But like any teenager, she's had her emotional ups and downs. In 2017, she gave her future self some advice. Don't be so sad. It's such a waste of time. But she admitted she didn't live up to that advice then, and she still doesn't now. But she felt it was still great advice. There are other things that Billie can be proud of aside from her banging music career. Her past self wasn't sure she'd ever figure out the whole driving thing, and yet she did. Future Billie even high-fived her past self during the video interview. Now imagine what she'll accomplish in another year. We simply can't wait to see what she'll do next. Do you think she's on her way to becoming the next Lorde? What is your favorite Billie song? Let us know what you think about Billie in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to The Taco.